I am a 22-year-old girl, and I just graduated college. At this point, I'm living with 3 of my friends in a 2-bedroom apartment. I landed a job at the company I interned for, and they offered me a decent salary. So I decided that it's finally time to start living on my own, so I could finally get some privacy and not feel like I was living in a dorm room. I find this nice 1-bedroom apartment in a newly built complex, and the landlord tells me that the apartment is vacant, so I can move in immediately if I want to. Since I knew I was starting work next month and had a bit of money saved up, I say screw it and decide to move in immediately because I don't want to risk losing the apartment. I'm also really tired of my living conditions, and on top of that, there is some tension between 2 of my roommates, and I just don't want to be a part of their drama. In hindsight, I really regret not asking them for help. I got the keys to the new apartment after I signed the rental agreement, and all there was left to do was to move my things and furniture to my new apartment. I'm a small girl, and there's no way I'm driving a van, so I definitely needed some help moving. My friends were from different towns and cities all over the state, and except for my roommates, nobody lived in my city, because they all went home straight after their college graduation. My roommates were pretty pissed off about having to find a new roommate and pay more rent until they could do so I didn't want to annoy them even more by asking them to help me with the move. That's why I decided to go to good old CRAIGSLIST. What a mistake. I've never used CRAIGSLIST before, and even though I've heard many different horror stories about it, I decided to give it a shot. I don't have so much stuff, and I don't want to hire a moving company and waste hundreds of dollars on a small move. I just need someone with a small van who would help me carry the heavier things. So, I go on CRAIGSLIST, write my ad, and post it. The waiting doesn't last long, because a man writes me an email 2 hours after I had posted the ad. He tells me that he has a van, and he can help me out with the move tomorrow, which is perfect. He seems like a normal guy from his email. Good grammar, straightforward speech, and nothing feels off about him. Looking back, this terrifies me the most about him, because he definitely didn't turn out to be normal, and I just had no idea. The next day came, 3 p.m. The doorbell is ringing. Everything is agreed. I go to open the door. When I open the door, I see him. He's a short, skinny guy with a buzz cut. As soon as he sees me, he gets this nervous look on his face. I definitely feel something strange in my gut. "Hi, you must be Luke," I say. After a very brief pause, he says, "Yes, that's me," followed by nervous laughter. The strange gut feeling multiplies with every second. Besides, he doesn't really look like the type of man you'd ask to help you with a move, if you know what I mean. I offer him something to drink and some snacks, but he refuses, so we start with the move. First, we get the light items, and then we move on to the closet and the bed, and let me tell you, it was a real struggle. It felt like I was the stronger one doing most of the work, but we managed to load up all of my things into his van. During the whole move, he didn't utter a word. I tried to break the awkward silence with some questions, but I gave up after a series of one-worded answers. What a strange guy. Now it's time to get in the car and drive to my new apartment. That's when the first major red flag appeared. I'd say the strange feelings I had were orange flags, but this was something else. I open the door on the passenger side, and what do I see? A shotgun laying right on my seat. He gets in from his side, casually grabs the shotgun and puts it behind his seat. I didn't know what to say, so I just stared at him because I was shook. He notices my look and just says coldly, "I was hunting." Okay. That statement didn't calm me down at all. At this point, I'm praying to God even though I'm an atheist. As we were driving, the awkward silence remains. At first, I don't notice, but when I look into the rear mirror, I see that his eyes are glued on me. When we made eye contact in the mirror, he quickly averted his gaze on the road as if nothing happened. During the 15-minute drive, this happened easily over 30 times. I was feeling more and more creeped out every minute. We finally arrive at my new apartment. We unload the van and move all the things upstairs. When it's done, I thank him for his help, hand him the $40 as agreed, and try to tell him goodbye. He interrupts my goodbye attempt with, "Aren't you going to ask me to stay over for a coffee?" What? So you can creepily stare at me in total silence for 20 more minutes? Hell no, dude. I obviously didn't say that. I tell him that I don't have any coffee because I didn't bring any groceries from the old apartment. "We can just drink water, or we can go buy groceries together," he says. I made an excuse that I need to unpack my stuff and that I'm very busy because I'm supposed to see a friend in about an hour, so I can't really hang out with him. Without saying a word, he just spins on his heel, storms out of my apartment, and slams the door. Wow, what a strange man. But it's over now. At least, that's what I thought. A few days passed, and it was still about 2 weeks until I had to go to work, so I was basically just relaxing home all day. I haven't had a break like this in a long time, and I know that I won't have one anytime soon. As I'm watching YouTube videos, I hear someone knocking on my door. I go and look through the people, and it's him. I started contemplating whether or not I should open, but I chose the wrong option. I opened the door. "Do you have time now?" he asks me right off the bat in a very cold tone. I apologized and told him that I'm working on a project and can't really hang out. But for some reason, I also added that it's strange he just showed up to my door unannounced. His eyes went even colder. "So I'm strange?" he asked rhetorically. Before I could say anything, he stormed off again, just like the last time. At this point, I have no idea what's going on, but I know I'm never using Craigslist again. But unfortunately, this is not the end of it. The man is really creeping me out now, and I can't stop thinking about him for the rest of the day. The day slowly turns into night, and then things start escalating. I'm chilling on my bed when suddenly I hear some weird scratches on my window. I should add that my apartment is on the ground floor, so I get really scared. I go to the window and open the curtains to investigate. Nothing. Maybe it was just the bush by the window scratching against the glass. Cats? I don't know. At this point, I'm trying to look for any rational or semi-rational explanation. I close the curtains, get back on my bed, and no more than 20 seconds later, the scratching continues. I go look again. Nothing. I keep looking out of the window and contemplate the possible source of the sound when I notice something. There are actual scratches on my window. Not some light scratches. Actual deep scratches that were definitely made on purpose with some object. It had to be a person, and the person is probably right by my window at this very moment. Then it clicks. What if it's the guy from Craigslist? I'm extremely terrified by now, so I immediately grab my phone and text my friend to call the police to my apartment, because there's probably some home intruder about to break into my room through the window. I didn't want to call them myself, because I'm not sure if I can make it in time and I want to be ready. I don't want to be caught on my phone. I grab a knife to feel safer and keep my eyes glued to the window. After some time, I swear I couldn't tell you how long it was, but it felt like an hour. Things get worse. His head pops up in the window. It really is the man from Craigslist, and he's right there, in my window, at night, and he's grinning. I haven't seen a hint of a smile from him yet. The fact that this is the first time he's smiling at me is unsettling. He then starts tapping on my window. The tapping soon turns into hard banging. I'm so scared. "Window, please don't break." He stops banging for a second and loudly yells, "So, You're too good for me, huh? Then he starts banging on my window even harder and harder. He's laughing and laughing, and then it happens. The window breaks. I'm terrified. The strange man starts stepping into my apartment through the window. I immediately start escaping and make a run for the door. I try to open the door, but they are locked, and I have no clue where I put my keys. This is it. He's already in the apartment, and I have nowhere to go. He is approaching me, and when he's nearly within reaching distance, he jumps at me. We wrestle as I'm screaming and shrieking loudly. He slams me on the ground, and I can feel him trying to take off my clothes, but I don't find it in me to open my eyes. After I had already lost all hope, I hear, "Police, freeze!" I open my eyes to see what's going on, and I see 2 police officers in my apartment. They must have entered through the window as well. One officer has his pistol drawn on the creep, and the other one is already pinning him down on the ground and handcuffing him. After they handcuff him, they pick him off the ground and make him stand up. He looks me dead in the eyes with the emptiest face I've ever seen on a human being. One officer asks me to open the front door, so I start frantically looking for the keys. The officers start escorting the handcuffed rapist out of my apartment, and just before he's out, I hear him say, "I'll see you some other time." I'm a 21-year-old student living the poor student's life in a small college town. My biggest passion is music. I love to sing, and I've been teaching myself how to play guitar for 2 years now. Ever since I heard about Lindsey Stirling, I became obsessed with violin and knew I had to learn how to play the instrument. It's my calling. However, being a poor student, hiring an expensive professional teacher is out of the question, so I must improvise. Then a light bulb went up. CRAIGSLIST. If you want some service for cheap, you look for it on CRAIGSLIST. Surely there must be some minimum wage worker who plays violin that wouldn't mind making extra money doing what he loves. So I go on CRAIGSLIST, but I can't find any violin teachers that wouldn't break my bank. But hey, I found someone selling their violin for $50, so that's a start. After I emailed the guy who was selling his violin, I posted my own ad. Private violin lessons needed, $15 an hour, twice a week. Now, it's time to sleep. I wake up later in the morning, and after my hygiene routine, I sit behind my computer. The violin seller got back to me. I can pick it up anytime. Great. But still, no replies to my ad. A few days go by, and then it comes. An offer. Older man willing to teach me how to play violin at my proposed rate. Amazing. I can feel my dreams coming true. I don't want to get carried away, but I can already see myself killing it on the stage with flames and fireworks all around me. Me and my soon-to-be teacher exchange a few emails until we agree on everything. We made a schedule that works for both of us. The first lesson is this Sunday. Sunday comes by, and I'm amped. He should be here any minute. Please show up. Clock hits 3 p.m., and as if on cue, knock, knock, knock. Was he waiting in front of my door until it's exactly 3 p.m.? Whatever. At least he's not late. I go to the door, open it, and there he is. A tall, lanky older gentleman, standing there with an ear-to-ear grin, holding his violin case. He didn't quite match my mental image, but he seemed friendly enough. Maybe a little too friendly. But I mean, he's older. Not too unusual for an older man to be excited about being in the presence of a young woman. I let him in, and we start small talking about music. I had a good feeling about him, because he came off as this wise older man who's maybe a bit too philosophical, but since I never had a male figure in my life, I can appreciate this energy. I give him a cup of coffee, some snacks, and we sit down on my sofa. After a bit more small talk, he pulls out his violin. "I love this instrument," he says very passionately. Before I can even agree with him, he puts the violin on his shoulder, in the playing position and continues speaking. To me, violin is the instrument of the human soul. There's no other instrument capable of representing human emotions like violin, not even nearly. After his last sentence, he starts playing a very fast-paced, high-pitched melody that emits energy. You see, this is happiness, the high-level emotion, the drug that everyone chases after. The man keeps talking in a soft voice. People only want to be happy, as if they've forgotten that other emotions are a part of being human as well. Being happy feels great, but it doesn't mean that other emotions are any less beautiful or important. As I sit there looking at him slightly perplexed, he starts playing another fast-paced melody, but this time it's lower pitched with less flow and more stops. This is anger, a lower level emotion. The world doesn't like anger because it's dangerous and powerful. Anger is responsible for a lot of bad in this world, but it can also serve a lot of good. It's a tool. Anger has been leading men toward achieving their goals and overcoming their circumstances since the beginning of humanity. But just like the melody I played, it's hard to play and it's hard to predict. You don't know when it will stop. You don't know when it will begin, and you don't know how strong it will get. After his short monologue, he begins to play another melody. As soon as he started playing this low, slow-paced melody, my body got 10 times heavier. It was like it sucked all the energy out of my body. "Do you know what emotion is this?" he asks me. "Sadness?" I reply with slight nervousness. He smirks and says, "Correct." It's not hard to recognize sadness, because it instantly weighs you down. That is, if being happy is your default. Unlike happiness, sadness doesn't feel good, but it's just as beautiful. Just like the melody I played. As I previously said, happiness is a drug. It's the drug. As every drug, it distorts your perception of reality. When you're happy, you see things that aren't there and miss other things that you should. When happiness comes, sometimes we don't even realize it right away because it's blinding. Unlike sadness. Sadness is clarity. Sadness is reality. Sadness doesn't lie. It just is what it is, and you can tell what it is right away. Here comes the silence. I don't know if he expects me to say something, but I can't even open my mouth at this point. I feel frozen, like I'm having some strange out-of-body experience. This is not how I imagine my violin lessons. But then, he breaks the silence with another melody. An eerie melody that starts off slow and forces the hair all over my body to stand up. This is fear, he says in a low voice while playing the melody. To me, this is the most beautiful emotion. As he says this, I start feeling the fear he's playing. I love fear the most because its spectrum is the widest of all emotions. It's my favorite emotion by far. Happiness and sadness are fairly uniform when compared to fear. Anger is the only emotion that comes close. You can feel a slight fear when something's a bit off, but that's not the fear's final form. It can do more than that. It can intensify. The anger works the same way. They go hand in hand, except they can't be felt simultaneously in one heart. After saying this, the melody speeds up and intensifies. As the melody intensifies, so does his voice. There's also this kind of fear that lets you know that danger is inevitable. At this point, it's not about something feeling a bit off. It's about knowing that something's about to happen to you. You still have false hope, but you know that what's about to happen is unavoidable. But it doesn't stop there. The intensity and pace of the original melody keeps increasing, and so does my fear. At this point, the man is terrifying me. I don't know what he's trying to tell me, but deep down, I know I should be afraid of him. I'm so shook that I don't even realize he is supposed to be teaching me how to play violin anymore. I want it to end, but it keeps on getting worse. After knowing that danger is inevitable, comes the feared act itself, which intensifies your feelings of fear even more. Now, you don't only feel fear, you live fear. There's no more false hope because it's happening. You embody the fear. There's no point in feeling it because there's nothing you can do about it, and it's not just a thought. It's a fact. After an endless increase in intensity, the melody comes to a drastic stop. And all that's left after that is death, nothingness, absence of all emotions, the true redemption. Nirvana, you could say. Then comes the silence. Again, this silence. I'm still frozen, and the old man is just grinning like he was when I first saw him. His grin didn't frighten me when I first saw it, but now it does. He's not cold anymore, but his current state is just as unsettling. Suddenly, he stands up and puts his violin into the case. Now, you understand violin. Keep your money. It's been only 25 minutes, but I think it's enough for today. Next time I see you, I will actually teach you how to play the instrument. He laughs suspiciously, and just like that, heads to the door, turns around one last time, says, "See you on Wednesday," with that same ear-to-ear grin, and leaves just like that. I'm still frozen, unable to do anything, but at least he's gone. Over the next few minutes, I slowly regain my composure. 25 minutes, he said? Longest 25 minutes of my life. He played the instrument extremely well, but I don't want any lessons from him nevertheless. To be honest, this experience probably ruined the instrument for me. Now I won't be able to play or listen to violin without thinking of this guy. It's like he permanently marked my soul. But the worst thing is, he's coming back. I know I want to play the instrument, and $15 an hour is a bargain. What the hell do I tell him? I'm too scared to tell him no. It's now Wednesday. Since the moment I woke up, I felt terrified. I have to encounter this scary old man again. I'll just not open the door and ignore him. Our agreed time is 6 p.m., which will be any minute. When 6 hits the clock, my heart drops. But I don't hear any knocking. I sort of expected him to knock exactly at 6 like the last time. Maybe it was really a coincidence, so I wait 5 minutes. Nothing. 10 minutes. Nothing. 30 minutes. Nothing. 1 hour. Nothing. I check my email. No messages from him. Phew. He's old, so maybe he forgot about me. Instant relief. I guess I dodged a bullet. I'm tired from the anxiety I was feeling all day, so I decide to watch some TV. I keep switching channels because there's nothing interesting on TV, and then I find out. I know why he didn't come. News headline: 62-year-old man arrested for raping and murdering at least 9 college students. His picture. It's him. Chills run down my whole body. Now I don't think I dodged a bullet. I know I dodged a bullet. Then it clicked. The first lesson. Now I understand what he meant with his monologue.